Hi everyone, this is Tony Rod from Gemrock Stone. I wanted to touch a little bit about something that I read in Second Samuel that I kind of skipped over, and I think it's kind of important to kind of look at it a little bit closely. So remember when David was leaving because Absalom wanted to kind of take over the kingdom, and David kind of took off and ran? There were some people who went with him and some people who stayed. Ziba was a servant for Me, oh Lord, Mephibosheth. I'm gonna call him Mephi, okay? Because it's gonna be a tongue tie thing for me. Mephi was the son of Jonathan. Jonathan and David were good friends, and Jonathan was King Saul's son. Jonathan and King Saul both died on the same day in battle. So David loved Jonathan, and David promised that he would, take care of any remnant um, um, from Jonathan's lineage. And so Mephi was the only person that was left, the only family member that was left. And so it took a while, but David did find him, and he took him in, and he was family, and he ate at David's table, and so that was the relationship. So when King David was leaving, Ziba, which was Mephi's servant, came running up to David and said, "Hey, here, I packed you some figs, and I packed you this, and I packed you that," and David was like, "All right, okay, so where's Mephi?" And he said, "Oh, he stayed behind. I think, he thought to himself like, well, that Absalom, is gonna, he thought that he would kind of regain the kingdom because he was the only descendant from Saul." And King David was like, "Oh, okay, but you're gonna stay behind, Ziba, because you're gonna be my little I spy. So you just stay behind." So he took Ziba's, refreshments for the road, but Ziba stayed behind to kind of do a little, I don't know, to be ears, eyes and ears for David while he was out. All right, so that was like chapter 16. So then when we move over to chapter 19, Absalom has died, and King David is returning back to Jerusalem. And so, a lot of people, a lot of, quote unquote, David's enemies were coming up, and they were saying, "Oh, we were wrong. We stayed with your son, but he's not the king now. You're the king, so we'll accept you," and blah, blah, blah. And then Mephi came up to King David, and it's chapter 19, 24. And Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came down to meet the king, King David, right? And he had neither taken care of his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes from the day the king departed until the day he came back to safety. When I read that, I had to read it again. I was like, okay, so if Ziba was right, that Mephi kind of decided, well, King David is gone, so maybe I'm going to be reinstated as the rightful king of Israel. Then why didn't he trim his beard or take care of his feet since the day David departed? I was like, that doesn't sound like someone who was trying to kind of usurp or take over kingship, from David. And I started to question whether Ziba was lying. Like, did he lie? And so he went on to say, "My lord," and when he came to Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, so King David said to him, "Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth?" He answered, "My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said to him, I will saddle a donkey for myself, that I may ride on it and go with the king. For your servant is lame. He has slandered your servant to my lord, the king." So Mephi's saying, Ziba slandered my name. He lied. He told me that he was going to take the donkey and just go and and that I was gonna, that I would slow him down because of my physical impediment. And he said what he said to you, and that's not true. And so